Susan Adams was last seen on September 30th, 1990, in Idaho County, Idaho. She and her husband, visiting from Austin, Texas, were part of a hunting and camping trip with a group of guides and hunters from Iron Horse Outfitters. The group was deep in the Selway Bitterroot Wilderness, near the Idaho-Montana border. The couple had spent months planning the trip and arrived on September 22nd. According to those around her, Adams appeared to be enjoying the experience. Around 9 a.m. on the morning she vanished, Adams told the group she was heading to a nearby meadow to do some bird watching. She never returned, and has not been seen or heard from since. Her husband followed her footprints along a trail that led roughly 20 yards from the meadow, where the tracks abruptly stopped. Despite an extensive search of the rugged area, no trace of her was ever found. At the time of her disappearance, Adams wasn't carrying any food, extra clothing, or survival gear. Authorities suspect she may have become lost or suffered an injury, and they believe her remains are still somewhere in the wilderness where she vanished. Roberts was last seen on January 18, 2020, at the Flying J truck stop located in the 200 block of Resica Beach Boulevard in Resica, Georgia. According to reports, she entered a restricted area of the kitchen where customers weren't allowed and got into a heated argument with an employee. Staff members called the police, but Roberts fled before they arrived. In her rush to leave, she left behind her backpack, which contained cash, her wallet, car keys, debit card, driver's license, phone charger, and other personal items. She has not been seen or heard from since. 2 days later, a relative found Roberts's vehicle still parked at the truck stop. Some of her belongings remained inside. Additionally, clothing believed to be hers was discovered hidden in a bush near the dumpsters behind the restaurant. Her cell phone was never recovered. Notably, another person, 21-year-old Caleb Nathaniel Smith, had vanished from the same truck stop 2 days earlier on January 16th. His body was found in a nearby marsh in Gordon County on February 2nd. However, investigators have not found any connection between the two cases, nor any evidence that the two individuals knew each other. Before her disappearance, Roberts had struggled with substance use and had been involved with a troubling group of individuals. However, according to her father, she was making progress, had been regularly checking in with her probation officer, and appeared to be turning her life around. After she went missing, a warrant was issued for her arrest due to a probation violation. Her disappearance is considered suspicious, and the case remains unsolved. On Saturday, January 27, 2007, Marvelyn Bass was shot to death as he left his job at the Wendy's restaurant on North Pleasantburg Drive. Witnesses reported seeing two suspects run across North Pleasantburg Drive towards Mallard Cove Apartments. On January 27, 2010, the Bass family held an auction to raise money in an effort to increase a reward. The event was televised and broadcast over the radio. After the initial media release, GPD received a tip that ultimately led to an arrest in the case. This case is still under active investigation, and more arrests are expected. Corey L. Love was arrested and charged with murder, attempted armed robbery, possession of a firearm, and possession of a gun or knife during the commission of a violent crime. He was sentenced to 50 years without the possibility of parole. Eric Ransom was also arrested in connection with the crime. However, no information regarding his sentencing or even a mugshot is available, but this case has been solved. Christopher Enoch Abeda was a 7-month-old infant who disappeared from his crib in the early morning hours of July 15, 1986, in Colorado Springs, Colorado. His case remains one of the most enduring and mysterious child abductions in Colorado's history. Christopher was last seen in his crib at approximately 12:30 a.m. on July 15, 1986, at his family's home on Ashwood Circle in southwestern Colorado Springs. When his parents awoke around 6:30 a.m., they discovered he was missing. Investigators found that the basement window was open, and the garage door opener was missing, suggesting possible foul play. Despite an extensive search, no trace of Christopher has ever been found. In 2018, 3 men came forward claiming to be Christopher. DNA tests were conducted, and in February 2019, the Colorado Springs Police Department confirmed that none of the men were Christopher. Christopher's mother, Bernice Abeda, dedicated her life to finding her son. She passed away in 2017 after a battle with cancer, still without answers. His father, Gil Abeda, also passed away in 2020. Despite their deaths, the Abeda family continues to seek justice and answers regarding Christopher's disappearance. Jessica Kane, a 17-year-old from Tiki Island, Texas, disappeared on August 17, 1997, after leaving a theater cast party in Clear Lake. Her truck was found abandoned on I-45 near Tiki Island, with her purse locked inside, but there was no sign of Jessica. For nearly 2 decades, her case remained unsolved. In 2016, convicted kidnapper and suspected serial killer William Lewis Reese led authorities to a field near Hobby Airport in southeast Houston, where human remains were discovered. DNA testing confirmed that the remains were those of Jessica Kane. In 2022, Reese pleaded guilty to the murders of Jessica Kane, Laura Smither, and Kellyanne Cox, all of whom disappeared in 1997. He was sentenced to life in prison for the Texas murders, with the possibility of parole after 30 years. Jessica Kane's family, after years of uncertainty, finally received answers and were able to lay her to rest. Marsha Carol Carson was tragically murdered on April 10, 2001, at the age of 54. Her body was discovered fully clothed in the swimming pool of her home in Altus, Oklahoma. The circumstances surrounding her death indicated foul play, as her keys and camera were found at the bottom of the pool and she had been strangled. Born on March 30, 1947, in Yuma, Arizona, Marsha had a diverse background. She earned a Bachelor of Arts in Exercise and Physiology from Oklahoma University and worked as a real estate agent for Century 21 in Altus. She was also a member of the First United Methodist Church. Marsha married Kirk Carson on November 26, 1991, in Las Vegas, Nevada. They moved to Altus in 1993, where they lived at the time of her death. Despite the tragic nature of her death, Marsha's legacy continues through her family and the memories shared by those who knew her. Her case remains unsolved, and her family continues to seek justice. Chelsea Woods was last seen in Clinton, Arkansas, on August 28, 2022. At 7:03 a.m., she called 911, expressing fear about someone inside her home. The call was related to a domestic situation that had already taken place. According to witnesses, after making the call, Woods began acting erratically and ran out the door into the surrounding woods. When police arrived, they located her a short distance down the road. She insisted on speaking with a specific officer, who was not available at the time. Officers spent nearly an hour attempting to persuade her to return home, but she ultimately ran deeper into the woods and vanished. She has not been seen or heard from since. 3 days later, Woods' aunt requested a welfare check after being unable to reach her. When officers visited her residence, they found the front door open. Woods was not there, but her cat was found inside. Her driver's license, purse, and some other personal items were discovered at a nearby property. Just 2 days before she went missing, Woods had told her mother during a phone call, "I just want to let you know if anything happens to me, I love you." The circumstances surrounding her disappearance remain unclear. Christine Dumont was last seen getting out of a car on Arnold Street in Woonsocket, Rhode Island on April 23, 2004. She has never been heard from again. In 2004, Jeffrey Myatt, a machine operator in Woonsocket, was charged with Dumont's murder after he confessed to the police while he was in custody for 2 unrelated assaults. He was also charged with killing Audrey Harris and Stacey K. Goulet, who was pregnant. Parts of Goulet's remains were found in a landfill in Johnston, Rhode Island in July 2004. Dumont and Harris are still missing. All 3 women have a history of drug abuse and prostitution. Dumont used crack cocaine, and all of them associated with criminals. Police described their lifestyles as high risk. Investigators theorized that they went to Myatt's apartment on Collow Street and were killed shortly thereafter. The bathtub in his apartment was blood-stained. Authorities determined the blood came from Dumont, Goulet, and Harris. Myatt pleaded guilty to all 3 murders in February 2006. He admitted that he strangled the women, dismembered their bodies, and put them in dumpsters. Myatt, who had no prior criminal record and expressed remorse for his actions. He will have to serve over 40 years in prison before becoming eligible for parole. Dumont's remains have never been found.